Good morning, everybody. It's beautiful out. It's 35 degrees. I'm out in the woods. It's warm. I'm wearing just this turtleneck, and I'm pretty warm so far. I want to come out here and do a video as a request from a dear friend of mine who's been following my videos, I guess, and her name is Marge Stevens, and I'm sure she doesn't mind me mentioning her name. She's had a lot to do with helping people in recovery for a long time, a lot of years. And one of the first people I came into contact with who asked me a question that was, at the time, seemed crazy to me that she would be asking me such a question. But the question she asked me was, do you love yourself? And I was like, what kind of a silly question is that? Of course I love myself. And she's like, you don't have to answer me. So when you go home, look in the mirror and be completely honest with yourself and ask yourself, do you love yourself? And you know, something that stuck with me through all these years, because to be completely honest with myself, I didn't know how to love myself. It's not that I didn't love myself, it's just that I didn't know how to love myself. And I had to learn to. And you have to excuse the chew. I don't smoke anymore. I haven't smoked since October 23rd. And I rarely ever chew either. In fact, the only time I seem to like a chew is when I'm doing these videos. I like to have a chew. Sit back and have a chew and relax. And then after that, I don't really touch it. But yeah, we all have our own vices, I guess, and mine have been worse than some and not as bad as others, but I'm constantly working on them, and I'm not perfect. You know, this last situation I got into, this relationship, you know, it had me feeling like a fool. And, you know, these videos I talk and I share with you are real life things, you know, real life situations. It's not just, I'm not just coming on here to talk like, and be all prophetic and talk about, you know, and be like this really super hype motivational speaker. They amaze me. Some of these people that are motivational speakers just absolutely amaze me how their mind works, and I admire the hell out of that. I'm just not that. You know, I speak from my experiences and my reflections, my daily reflections upon myself and the choices and decisions that I make in my life, how they affect me and how I react and respond to them, which responses are inappropriate, need work, and which responses worked out for me. So there's two sides of the spectrum for me that I pay attention to, and one is what's working and one is what's not working, you know. And this last relationship helped me identify areas that I still need to work on, you know, and just how much I've grown, you know, the work that I have done, how it's changed me and how it's changed my reactions and responses to certain things, you know. It didn't, whatever happened. I'm not here to judge the person. I'm not here to make them look bad. I'm not here to, definitely not here to downgrade them in any way whatsoever. You know, it is what it is, and what happened. And I felt like a fool, but realized that really I'm not a fool. And I have some good friends who've been there for me, that have talked to me and that have helped me see things from different perspectives, things that I wouldn't have normally seen and overlooked. And it's like, wow, why didn't I see that? You know, this could have saved me some time and trouble. Well, and I was thinking about that on the way out here. You know, we're all students and we're all teachers, and we teach what we learn, and we take in knowledge from other people that help us evaluate situations even better with more insight than what we normally have. You know, is I don't always have the answers, but I have some pretty amazing friends that have analyzed life and their situations themselves and have come up with different perspectives. And I'm like, wow, man, your perspective on this is absolutely phenomenal. And it really helped. I have this one friend, and I just sent her a message telling her I appreciate her friendship, and that her being there for me, and having this long talk with me really pulled me out of it. It it sped up this whole healing process, sped it up. I mean, just like skyrocketed me out of what could have been a long and sorrowful experience. And she really gave me some different ways of looking at things. I'm like, yes, I wish I would have seen it that way ahead of time. I would have recognized different things, and I didn't. Because like most people, if any of you are like me, I want what I want when I want it, and that kind of attitude can rush me into situations that, without patience, with blinders on. I'll go rushing into a situation with blinders on and only seeing things one way. you know. So today my attitude is, you know what? I had another friend that says, it's what you learn from everything. Don't close your eyes or your mind or your heart to love. It just wasn't your time, and you need to be patient. When it's time, it'll happen. And it's like, well, my biological time clock is ticking. Well, actually, that's gone already. But my time clock, period, in life is ticking. And it's going by. It's moving. It's moving rather fast, and nobody wants to grow old alone. I thought I heard a Bigfoot. I thought I heard a Bigfoot. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying is, I'm learning to have an appreciation for my experiences. The older I get, the more appreciation I have for it. But not only my experiences and what I'm learning from, but what I learn from my friends and the people that I care about, that care about me, that care enough to reach out to me to see how I'm doing and to talk to me and give me different ways of looking at things and things to consider that maybe I hadn't considered or thought about prior. And it's really helped me take back my power. One of the things I want to talk about, because many of us have gone through the situation, many of you will be able to relate to what I'm saying, where you get into a relationship with somebody and you're like a little kid, you got them butterflies just turning in your stomach. We call that a honeymoon stage. And that honeymoon stage can blind the hell out of people, big time. But if you've ever come out of a past with abandonment issues, such as I have, that I've done a lot of healing and I've done a lot of work on, sometimes it can cause you to try to rush things, no matter who it's with, rush things. And then I'm just getting to that point in my life where I'm starting to really get it. I'm really starting to understand that anything meaningful is going to come through patience and work and time. Not too much work, because I always say don't force something that doesn't come natural. True love. If you know a friend in a moment you meet them better than you'll know acquaintance in 1,000 years. That ain't my quote. That's Richard Bach's quote. But that's true. You better know a friend in a moment you meet than you'll know an acquaintance in 1,000 years. And sometimes that's the case when you meet somebody that you just connect with. You connect with them and just know, man, this is my person. I could really settle down with this person and wake up to them and looking in their eyes first thing in the morning every day for the rest of my life. And sometimes it just isn't meant to be, and we have to accept that it's what we want, not what was meant for us. And if we always got if we got everything we always wanted, can you imagine how miserable and unhappy we'd be? Looking back on our experiences, if I got everything I ever wanted, I'd be the most miserable person in the world, because what I want isn't always good for me. And the Creator has a way of educating and teaching us, and He puts the people in your path that need to be there at that time to help you look at yourself. One of the one of the greatest things I've ever done for myself was learn how to be a little bit honest with myself, because believe me, there was a time that I was so full of shit that I didn't even know when I was being full of shit. And excuse my French, but you know, um, it's accurate and it's true. You know, I spent so much time in my life living behind walls and barricades that I put up to protect myself from people and from getting hurt, that I lost complete contact with my own identity and who I really was. And in the process of doing that, I became the biggest phony that I ever knew, because I was fake. I was fake as fudge. And let me tell you, when you get so full of shit that you don't even know when you're full of shit, you've hit a definite low in character and personality. And when I got into recovery, when I first sobered up over 21 years ago, I came to that realization that I was so full of shit I didn't know when I was full of shit. And what helped me realize that I was so full of shit was a relapse. I was 2 days shy of a year and a half, and I relapsed. And before the relapse, I was going into meetings every 3 times a day sometimes, and 90 times a month. And I knew what to say. Man, I could go in and I could sound prophetic and I could say things that really hit people. But I was full of shit. And when I relapsed, I came to that realization. I thought, man, you are so full of shit. You are so full of shit. You are so full of shit. You don't even know when you're full of shit and when you're being full of shit. And I still have the ability to do that. Luckily I have friends that are honest enough with me to tell me when I'm full of shit. And then I have a responsibility to take a look at what they're telling me, because they're not telling me that to hurt my feelings or piss in my cornflakes. They're telling me that to be completely honest with me and give me an opportunity to try to help myself. And it always helped me a great deal, being honest with me. Like my sister Pam, when I'm struggling, I can contact my sister Pam or Deborah, or either one of my sisters, my Rita, Teresa, any one of my sisters, Becky. If I contact any one of my sisters, they can pull me right out of my funk. And Pam especially. I have a relationship with Pam that is almost like we're not blood brothers and sisters, but we're brother and sister to the core, and like soul brothers and sisters. Like we existed as brothers and sisters in a previous life, and we met again in this life. And I can call her and I can talk to her, and she won't sugarcoat things. She'll tell me direct, because she knows I need to be told direct. And then I still don't listen. and she gets frustrated with me sometimes, but she loves the hell out of me, and I love the hell out of her. She will, like, oh my God, Dave, I could tell you about it. I know you're not going to listen anyway, but I'm going to tell you. And you're, but she knows, being a Libra, that I'm stubborn and I'm bullheaded. But if I learned things the easy way, I would never have appreciation for the lesson. And that is the honest to God truth. That's why I can't sit here and view myself as a victim or feel sorry for myself, because I know me better than anybody. I have to touch the fire to find out that it's hot. You can't tell me that it's hot. I'm not going to have an appreciation for your knowledge just from the surface. I got to actually touch it and say, yeah, they know what they're talking about, man. Man, they're smart. I have to get burnt first before I realize that, hey, if you touch the fire, it's going to burn you, And then I gain a deeper appreciation through my own pain, And that's why I tell people, I've lived a painfully beautiful life, and that I can find happiness and beauty even in my own pain, Some of the most painful things I've gone through, I look back on and I reflect on it, and I realize just how much I've learned about myself, about how I respond, because many of us have traumas, and we have trauma responses that we might not even be aware of. We have these responses to things that trigger traumas that we've experienced in our past. It could be something that somebody says or does, and then we have a response to that. It's just a reaction, and it's a part of our defenses. The things that we say or do to try to defend ourselves. When you get a couple in a relationship that are slinging back and forth at each other, a lot of times the struggle that couples run into is because rather than taking constructive criticism, they take it personal because it's coming from the person that they love and care about. So they take it as an attack versus constructive criticism. And when you take something as an attack and a personal attack, you defend yourself. You come out swinging and defend yourself. And next thing you know, you're pointing fingers back and forth. I wouldn't be this. I wouldn't have done this if you didn't do that. And nothing gets accomplished that way. So when I tell people, and I said in a post, that the problem is always me. Okay, people. I've had people, and I appreciate you. I appreciate your kind and gentle comments about, but you're not always at fault. Don't take all the blame. Don't misunderstand how I'm saying things, because I'm not taking the blame. I'm not taking all the blame. I'm looking at myself. What they did, how they did it, or whatever influence or effect they've had on my life has nothing to do with them being at blame. What I mean by I'm always the problem is that and that the problem is always within myself, is that I strive to try to practice what I preach, unlike being full of shit when I relapsed and saying I'm so full of shit, so full of shit. Okay? Well, you can say the most prophetic things in the world. You can have the most amazing knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply those teachings to your own life, you're just a hypocrite and you're full of crap. You're full of shit, honestly. So, it's like you can tell somebody you love them and they can appreciate that, but they're not going to appreciate it as much as you showing them, because actions speak louder than words. So words without action is just an empty box with empty promises. And that's why it's important for me to be able to take a look at my experiences and take a look inside myself and say, the problem isn't external, the problem is always internal. It's the way that it's always based off the choices and decisions I made, okay? If I get in a relationship with somebody and they devastate me emotionally, that's not their fault. I overlooked red flags, or I overlooked things that I shouldn't have to get what I wanted, and I got everything I didn't need. And it's because I ignored common sense. I ignored things to go after what I wanted, not what was healthy for me. It's like taking a step backwards and going down the steps to look at something that you've already passed and already experienced, and you just chose to do it over, rather than elevate above that and look beyond and look higher to a higher understanding. And so my latest experiences led me to say, the problem is never anyone else. The problem is always within myself. And just like I said, what that means is I need to take a look at the choices and decisions that I made and how they affected me, and not beat myself up over them, and not be a fool and feel like a fool, because I'm not a fool. You can't call a student that goes and sits down in class and wants to learn something a fool because they're trying to learn. It's no different than somebody making wrong choices or decisions and realizing that the problem they were trying to solve, they were doing it with a wrong method, and that sometimes you have to understand that you have to mess up, and you have to go back and erase and start over, and take a look at what it was that caused you to mess up. And that's always me. If I was looking at somebody else's sheet, then and cheating, and then I could blame them for my messing up. But I'm the one addressing the problem with my own solutions. And if I'm overlooking things and I'm just walking through life blindly with blinders on because I'm going after what I want, well, I'm not always going to get what I need. And chances are what I want isn't good for me, as I said. And and thank God for unanswered prayers, dodging bullets. I can feel heartbroken, but honestly, you know, let me feel that pain. Let me learn from that pain what I need to learn from it. The lesson, focus on the lesson, not the pain, because if you focus on the pain, you're going to miss the lesson. And and that's what I've been spending time doing this last week is really reflecting on the choices and decisions I've made, not blaming anyone, not taking a victim stance and not feeling sorry for myself, but taking a look at the choices and decisions I've made and saying, I've grown a lot. I've grown a lot because I didn't react the way that I normally would have reacted to the situation. That tells me that I've really improved. My energy, however, is what needs work because I let it affect my energy. I let it affect me and my energy and how I was feeling. And this is where I have to take a look. I have to take a step back, watch some of my own videos, and take some of my own advice because my advice really isn't off. It's just, okay, now live it. Live what you're teaching, live what you're preaching, and live by what you're saying and believe it. Because if you believe it, then live it. And that will help you through. Sometimes we're our own best teachers if we listen to ourselves, but a lot of times we're too busy running around with these blinders on to even hear our own spirit speaking to us saying, hey, slow down, buddy. Come back a couple steps. Slow down. You're not in a race. Whatever you don't finish in this lifetime, you'll finish in the next. Take your time. Embrace your experiences. Embrace what it is that you were meant to learn. Because what you learn and what you learn from it, it becomes the gift. That gift becomes a light that you put back out into the world to bless other people who are struggling. As my friend did with me when she spoke. She obviously found a gift in her own suffering, and she shared it with me, and it brought me out of mine, And I really love friends like that. I really do. I love friends like that can do that. I love people who are high vibrational, who really want to build other people and inspire them rather than destroy them or put them down or judge them, because any one of us have the ability to just sit back and cast judgment on other people. But and I just shared this with somebody. I don't have to like everybody that I meet, but I have a spiritual responsibility to everybody I meet because I carry that sacred pipe, because I was chosen to carry this medicine, because I was chosen to help people. I get that today. So I don't have the luxury of picking and choosing who the Creator puts in my life to help. So whatever I learn from this, hopefully they learn something about themselves also. And I was talking about this with somebody just yesterday. If somebody was a pedophile or somebody's a rapist or somebody's a murderer or thief, no matter what they've done in their life, if they come up to me and they ask me for prayers, I may not like them. I may not like what they did, but I have a spiritual responsibility to them. And because I have that responsibility to them, I have to pray for them. Even a criminal is entitled counsel. And that counsel has to be indifferent and represent them to the fullest of their ability. It's no different for me. I don't have to like this person at all. I don't have to like what they stand for or what they did. But if they ask for prayers, I have to send those prayers up. I have to help. And then what they did is between them and God, between them and the Creator. I'm nobody to judge them. I'm nobody to sit and cast judgment on them, because I don't want anybody to sit back and cast judgment on me. I'm not a perfect human being. I'm a work in progress. I'm constantly looking at myself, constantly reflecting on the choices and decisions I make and how they affect the way I think and feel. And keeping an open mind and being completely honest with myself about a lot of things has helped me heal things, and it's helped me make better choices. I could sit back right now and say, okay, I give up on finding somebody in true love, somebody meaningful that I can settle down with and I can grow old with. That's not going to happen. And then have somebody say, hey, slow down there, Dave. You know, it will happen, and it does exist. It just isn't time yet. Things aren't going to happen on our terms in the way that we want them. Things are going to happen on the Creator's terms. And when that time is right, He's going to put the right person there that's supposed to be there. Not because I sought them out, but because they sought me out and they wanted to be there. And I guess that's just the way I'm going to look at it now. I need to stop looking, and whoever it is going to be will find me, and we'll find each other or whatever, and it'll just happen. But I need to take things slow. I have a tendency to want to rush. Like, man, this is perfect. This is perfect for me. Oh man, I want this. Okay. I need to slow down. Slow down. And one of the most powerful messages that I heard from somebody. I shouldn't say powerful, but there was a lot of clarity in what they told me. Be discreet. Maybe don't put it on Facebook. Maybe don't announce it to the world. The whole world don't need to know that you met somebody that is sharing happiness in your life or bringing you happiness and you're bringing them happiness. It'll just happen on its own, and it'll happen in its own time. You don't have to announce to the world that you woke up and the sky is sunny. People will see the sun themselves. You don't have to announce it at the top of your lungs. And that's I'm taking that to heart. If I do meet somebody in the future, I'm going to be discreet about it. Nobody needs to know. I'm just going with it, and whatever happens, happens. And if it doesn't work out, then I know I have good people in place that are there to help me. If I'm struggling with issues of the heart, matters of the heart, and then I can go from there. But I thought I'd get out and I'd do this video because it's nice out, and I wanted to tell people, true power is taking back your power and understanding that power comes from prayer, power comes from what you believe in, power comes from living what you believe, living by what you believe, living by those laws that you created for yourself that seem to be working for you, that are healthy for you. And not only healthy for you, but they're healthier for the people around you. And they really will bring you peace. They will bring you understanding, and they'll bring you clarity. It's been a week of reflection, definitely of reflection. And I just want to share real life shit with you, It don't have to be prophetic. It don't have to be something amazing, but it's real life. It's real shit, And that's what I want to share with you. So I'm gonna end this video because I'm gonna probably do another one about something else I want to talk about. And this one is very dear. The next topic is very dear to me. But I want to share with the people, and not just from my tribe, but tribes all over, and people who are all over from different nations, whether they're native nations or whether they're just different continents, different cultures, and different races. I want to be able to share because we're all affected by it. Anyway, I want to thank you for your time and listening, and I just want to say that I love you all, and I'm praying for you all, and I appreciate everybody who's taken the time to reach out to me and encourage me and inspire me. You don't even know how much you mean to me in my life, and I love you all, and I appreciate you.